me say this as the elder statesman on the show. Nick just let me know I'm a baby boomer. I didn't even know.
You didn't know.
He's
the youngest.
The tail end of the baby
He's
boomers.
the youngest baby of the baby boomers. You're right in the middle of Gen X, and I'm the oldest of the millennials. So we're a three-generational show. I am. I'm born in '84. Millennials started in '83. Doesn't matter. Go ahead.
He's up to
but Brew's a boomer. How about that?
I'm shocked that I'm a boomer. But anyway, I have sounded the alarm on their youth.
Yeah.
But when you look at this field, I mean, all the teams, this is a different year.
There's not a veteran team.
Right. Like, the Knicks would be the veteran team, but their second best player is new, right? Yeah. He's just there for the first year, Karl Anthony Towns. Brunson isn't old. He's a vet,
McHale's new.
Yeah. So they're a new team. Indiana is only their second year in the playoffs, and their best player is 25 years old, Halliburton. And then Minnesota been to the playoffs 4 years, but their best player is 23, and their second best player, Randall, is new. So it's not going to really hurt them in this Final Four, so to speak. They look great. I mean, obviously the sluggish start, but once they got going, man, that defense was great. And the key was, as I said yesterday, would be the turnovers. Mm-hmm. If Minnesota could avoid turning the ball over, they'd be in good shape. They didn't. They had 19 turnovers. Even in the first half when they were leading, they still had a lot of turnovers. And the difference was they had 19, OKC had 15. But the difference was OKC turned those into points. I think it was 31 points off of turnovers. Minnesota did not turn their turnovers. 15 turnovers they forced or had, and only 10 points from them. So that was a big difference. And look, for Minnesota, they took 51 threes out of like 85 shots, 83 shots, 51 were threes. But most of them were open. So if you're a Timberwolves fan, you got to be thinking, like you were with the Celtics, these are open shots that they will hit, and they just missed a ton of them. They do have to find a way to get into the paint.
Yes. They also were taking some of those shots because the Thunder defense was so good.
Yes.
It's just easier. Right. They walled it off. And, it was Nickeil Alexander-Walker with a bunch of the open ones.
I saw a little too much of him.
Right. Well,
I know McDaniels was in foul trouble.
But I'm saying the guys for Minnesota that were taking the shots are kind of the guys the Thunder wanted to take the shots. So that's credit to them. So listen, I'd love to give just cogent analysis like Brew did.
Yeah.
But that's not the biggest, for me, and I think for America, the biggest takeaway of yesterday. The biggest takeaway of yesterday is the fact that these playoffs, the one through line of these playoffs is physicality.
Yep.
We are going to let Alex Caruso guard Nikola Jokic like he owes him money, and nobody's going to care. We are going to reward teams that try to play defense, and no team takes better advantage of that and deserves more credit for executing that properly than Oklahoma City, who just sends waves of defenders at you, generates these runs, can go from they're trailing by 4 midway through the third to the game's over. And it's not the way we're used to in the last 10 years of basketball when if that happens, it's because a team made 8 of 11 threes. Right. No, it's because they are getting stops, that Dort is putting his body into you, Caruso, J-Dub, all of it. And I love it, and they're the best in the league at it. And you do have to start to say, hey, where does this team rank historically, not all time, but the last 20 years of the best defenses we've seen?
Yeah.
Wait a second. Where is this magically coming from right now from Nick? That he loves it. When literally yesterday he said this.
Confession here. I'm picking the Thunder, and I hope I'm wrong. I don't really like watching them. The moment the Lakers got knocked out, I said I think the Thunder are going to win the championship. They've been my pick since then. I'm picking them in this series. I think they're the best team, and I hope I'm wrong. Right. Because the confession is, and I know that the hipster NBA fans are going to tell me this is why I'm not a real fan, don't care. I don't really like watching them. I'm not as agog at what is objectively their swarming great defense as I know I'm supposed to be. I am not as hypnotized by Shea's amazing footwork in the mid-range as I know, if I really loved the game, I would be, as I'm told. I'm just not. I want to see Anthony Edwards dunk on these guys. I want to see Julius Randle dip his shoulder into Chet Holmgren's chest and us to worry if they need to stop the game for a bit. I would like to see Minnesota. I think they play a brand of basketball that I enjoy more, and they have a personality that I enjoy more. I'll take the arrows for it. I owe the audience honesty. That's it. I think Oklahoma City's the best team. I think they'll beat everybody. I hope they lose this round.
I don't understand. That's the exact opposite take of what he's kind of pretty much saying here. So this was literally just yesterday, okay? Like this wasn't like, oh, that was weeks ago or months ago. That was last season. It was yesterday. Like not even 24 hours ago. I don't even understand. And it's so funny because I'm watching this game. And I'm thinking about that take, and that's why he has that take. Because if it's right, then everyone's like, oh, you were right. And if it's wrong, people are still thinking about him. And I'm watching this, and I'm like, how anyone in their right mind could ever say that this is boring and not exciting and not awesome? I mean, I got news for you. Really only one team ever really made the avalanche of threes, like, legitimately exciting. And that was the Golden State Warriors. And it was because of the way Steph and Clay could do it. And then obviously when you also add in KD, there was this excitement about it. And again, I mean, no one can shoot better than Steph. And so the types of threes that he were making, it was just mind-blowing. You could see other teams shoot lots of threes like the Rockets and the Celtics, and it's just not as exciting. Like that felt boring. And the way how OKC plays with their defense and their ball movement, it does remind me of the Golden State Warriors, but just obviously a different variation of it. And, the biggest takeaway from OKC's performance, the way how I really kind of looked at it, well, first off, I love the physicality in the playoffs. I love it as long as it's like real and we're not talking about cheap shots here. But I think both teams played straight up. There was never really any plays where you're just like, come on, man, what are you doing here? Like, I didn't feel that way. I didn't feel like it got too physical to the point where you're just like, this isn't even fun now. Like, what the heck? Like, I think it was actually very balanced, and I thought it was high level personally. But for me, the biggest takeaway is that OKC, their ball movement, their selflessness, their just true high IQ, high quality ball, both defensively and offensively, quite frankly, was just textbook. I mean, it was just absolute textbook. And you could see the practice, the work, the coaching, the level of talent the individual players have. You saw it all come together. Compare that to what you saw the Timberwolves. Timberwolves looked like they were a team that had been together for a while. They're like a rec league team or something, or like a high school kind of like team that's been together. The same group of kids who've been together for like years, and they play in various tournaments and various leagues and stuff like that. And they just kind of relied on like, yeah, we got Ant, we got Julius Randle, got Gobert. Like, we'll find it. We figure it out. Like it was just kind of like, yeah, we're usually just better than everyone else, and we've been together for so long that like, yeah, man, we just ball. That's what we do, right? Like you didn't really see the high IQ, you didn't really see the coaching, you didn't see the practice, like you just didn't see it. It was just like, we're a bunch of dudes. We've been together for the last like 10 years. We've been playing since we were like 4 together. Our moms all know each other and stuff. Like that's what it felt like to me. And by contrast, when you see OKC play, you're like, that is a team that's putting in the work. That is a team that's holding each other accountable. That is a team where the coach has them dialed in on all the details, all the tiny little things, which is very reminiscent of how it felt with the Golden State Warriors. Just high level paying so close attention to detail, which is why, honestly, because I think the Knicks have a lot of that as well. But again, it's a different style and definitely more physical. It would be fascinating to see, because on the surface right now, and not even taking like an incredibly big deep dive on this, but just more of a little bit looser of a blanket statement, it feels like the Knicks and the Thunder are the two best coached teams. Doesn't mean that they have the best coaches or whatnot, but it just feels like right now, I see the practices. I see the coaching philosophy. I see the hours of work that are put on off the court, on the court for both those teams, and especially obviously OKC right now. And it's awesome to see. Like, that's high level basketball. That's why games like this and teams like this can never be boring to me. Because I'm just like, I see the work. A lot of games actually end up being pretty boring when you see that you're just when it is just being relied on talent and just like the physical gifts that you've been given. Which is what's funny, because Nick was like, I just want to see Julius Randle dip his shoulder and Ant dunk, and it's like those guys have been able to do that since like the moment they hit puberty, since the moment they went through like a growth spurt. It's like that they didn't put in work to do that. That's just like kind of just there. Like, that's always boring to me, quite frankly. It just really is. Having, I'll just even use OKC as an example. Like, having Chet Holmgren get like an easy walk-in dunk when he's like 9 feet tall, I'm like, that's not interesting to me. Having him be at an awkward angle underneath the basket and getting a beautiful pass, and having to kind of like, I still don't even know what he did. Like, it's still, the way how he kind of like wrapped around. It's just like, no, that's work. Like, that's skill. That's court awareness. That's being able to read the mind of the players around you. Like, that I love to see. And again, this defense isn't just based on, hey, we're just going to play harder than everyone else. It's smart, high level defense that's beyond just, let's just put in a lot of effort. The way how they avoid screens. I mean, I think they even pointed out on broadcast how rather than saying, okay, we're going to switch, it's like, no, I'm going to step forward now. Like, it's just the moments that you see, where I've been in these practices where it's just like, you're in practice and they run a screen and the coach says, stops. He stops. He goes, no. When this happens, this is what you do. Step forward. When you step forward, now you can move with the ball handler. You don't have to switch now. You understand that? And then all the players are like, oh, okay. They're like, run it again. Do it again. And they do it. And they're like, see? You were able to stay with the ball. You didn't have to switch, right? That's what we want to do when you come up against the screen. And you're just like, boom. That's something that they practice. That's something that you learn. And again, I'm not going to act like that's like, like the most amazing lesson that, like, I'm not going to act like that's just like, oh my God, the biggest, coaching, truth bomb ever dropped. But like, you see it in practice. You see it not only in practice, but then in practice in terms of like in the game, you see it. And I love it. I absolutely love it. And you don't have to be a basketball hipster, whatever the heck that even means. Like, you just got to like kind of just know ball. You also just have to have been at practices, know what it's like to put in that work, know what it's like to do beyond the stuff of just like, hey, I'm 6'7" and really strong, or I can just shoot really good. Like, it's beyond that. So I loved what I saw. I thought this game was exciting. I think OKC continues to show their resilience. I don't think that the games are just going to continue to go out. That would actually be more shocking to me if they just continued this pace. I don't think it's just going to be a walk in the park. I do think the Timberwolves will double down on their physicality. And I think you will kind of get, some better games from Ant and whatnot. And I do believe in the coaching from the Timberwolves. And so I think they'll make some adjustments that I think will be pretty smart as well. So, it'd be interesting to see how the Thunder, respond to that. So I'm, like Colin had a take where he's like, oh, it's over. And it's just like, you could be the biggest Thunder fan, and I appreciate that. I respect that, but it's like, it's game one. And it felt great, and it's awesome. And I think the Thunder will win the series, but I just don't know if it's going to be this easy game after game after game. And I don't want it to be that easy. And even if you're a Thunder fan, you shouldn't want it to be that easy because, like, come on. But I do think the Thunder looked a little tired, and they were able to still keep up with it. But I do think it could go a long way to end this series in like 5. Like, have a shorter series, get some rest. I think SGA was tired. Again, I mean, he still balled 31 points, 9 assists, and whatnot. But even in a Game 7 blowout, they pretty much played like they had to play the whole time. Like it was a 1-point game. They had the Thunder in there pretty deep into that game until like the last like few minutes, honestly. And so I do think the cumulative fatigue is legit there for the Thunder. And you know, SGA kind of said, "Oh, we were a little bit rusty." You know, those were his words, not mine. And it's like, I think you were just a little fatigued, honestly. I don't think it was rust. It was like you were just a little bit tired, right? Like you've been playing a lot of basketball, and so I think a shorter series, again, it depends on who you play, but especially if I think you play the Knicks, then like that's going to be a physical series. That is definitely going to be an insanely physical series. And again, I'm not even trying to automatically assume that they win this round either. I'm not trying to jump to conclusions. It's just, in a perfect NBA world for the Thunder, you'd probably win. You'd probably have a 5-game series, not too short, not a clean sweep. You don't want like too much rest. You want to avoid a Game 6 and Game 7, and you just want to be able to get at least an extra day or two of rest. You don't need this week-long rest either. You don't need that, but you just need an extra minute to breathe. You need to let your body just cool down for a second. And you'd be just a series away from being world champions. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Oklahoma City Thunder's performance? What do you think the biggest takeaway was? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.